Ayo! And what is up, gang? Thank you for joining us here on Sledgehammer TV tonight for your official Survivor Series 2017 review and results show. There is a lot to talk about tonight. Let's get right to it, and let's do that right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast on all of YouTube, baby! The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it. Alright, wrestling fans, welcome back to the hottest new wrestling show on YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me is my trusty companion, the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, my tag team partner, Blue the Snowball, and we are here to bring to you our coverage of tonight's Survivor Series, the 31st edition of the Survivor Series presented by the WWE, came to us from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Survivor Series was a pretty good show, you guys. It was a pretty good show, I'm not gonna lie. I'm also going to be brutally honest with you about how I feel about this show, because it is not without its problems. Did Survivor Series come close to what we got last night at War Games? I'm going to go on record in saying no. Yes, it was a very good show, but what we got last night from NXT was absolutely memorable beyond belief. From beginning to end, you got everything you wanted in a pro wrestling show that night. Saturday night at NXT. It was going to be hard to follow, and they did a great job in trying to do so. And I can't sit here and tell you that they failed miserably, because they did deliver on many occasions on this night. But there were a couple of problems I have with the show. The first of which being the absolutely useless scorecard that they kept making reference to as if this was an actual contest between the two brands. I understand it's the only time of the year Raw goes versus SmackDown. We heard that 900 times tonight, right? But that scorecard is ridiculous. There is nothing at stake. The winner gets nothing. There is no reason for you to keep tally of the wins and losses. Who gives a shit about bragging rights? Nobody does. Everybody on SmackDown can still go back on Tuesday and walk around going, well, we lost, but we're still the best show. So what does it really prove? It doesn't prove anything. There should have been something at stake. Maybe home field advantage for WrestleMania, where your brand, if you come out victorious, your world title gets the main event. Or maybe a contestant on your brand gets the number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble. Something to make you invested the way they obviously wanted you to be invested. That being said about that, the main problem with it is it made the show too predictable. They didn't even structure it in a way where you can be caught off guard by the wins and losses. Raw came out right off the bat, got a 2-0 lead, and then you could see from there where they were going with it. SmackDown ties it up and then goes ahead, and then you have no choice but to know already what's going to happen in that next match, because they want the final match of the night to be the deciding match, so you know we're going to end up in a tie, so that last match is the tiebreaker, making the rest of the card very predictable. So I did not like that scorecard. It was stupid, and they should not have done it. Another thing, and this may be minor, and it might just be me nitpicking, but that 5-man commentary team, oh my god. How distracting was that, you guys? You heard all of the nonsense that I heard. It's hard enough to get through Booker T on Monday night, and then also Byron Saxton on a Tuesday night. To have to deal with them both in the same night was almost like a punishment for being a wrestling fan. It made the commentary so distracting, and it took away from the quality of some of these very good matches that we were treated to on this night. But all they needed was Tom Phillips, Corey Graves, and Michael Cole. One analyst from each show, and then Corey Graves is your color guy because he's on both shows. it would have made for a much more interesting night. We didn't need Booker T there tonight. He offered absolutely nothing positive to the commentary, and I'm usually not too down on Booker T. I don't mind him. I find him very entertaining, and I think that they are very mean to him on the commentary team, because he does sometimes get a little lost in his thoughts, and maybe sometimes he rambles incoherently, but you shouldn't be downing the guy on national TV. And we had a lot of that going on tonight. Between him and Saxton, I didn't know who to feel worse for. There were times when Byron Saxton just laid out, and then they called him out for not saying anything. Oh, why aren't you saying anything, Byron? You ain't got nothing to say now. Like, it was unnecessary. The squabbling between the brand's commentators does not add anything to the show. It didn't take away from it to the point where I have to just shit all over the show and say it was the worst Survivor Series ever. Was it better than last year's Survivor Series? Absolutely. Absolutely it was better. Was it the best of the big four this year? I'm going to go and say yes. Just based off of Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles alone. We'll get a little bit more into that. The last thing that really bothered me tonight was the way the main event 5-on-5 Raw vs. SmackDown Survivor Series match went down. The order of the eliminations definitely kind of took me out of it. I mean, we still had some pretty big confrontations and we had some pretty decent stuff go down. But to have Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode be the first two people eliminated from this match took away almost everything for a guy like me. I absolutely marked out like crazy when Shinsuke got in the ring with Triple H. And subsequently when Bobby Roode would follow up and go in the ring against him again. Those were two of the key matchups I was looking forward to seeing. I was looking forward to see Kurt Angle tangle with Bobby Roode. They were a great match in TNA. They went one-on-one for the TNA Heavyweight Championship, and they got barely, like 2 minutes against each other in this match? All for this to end up being what I kind of was afraid it was going to be. Instead of it really being Raw vs. SmackDown, it's the launch point for the storyline between Kurt and Triple H, which is going to eventually lead us to this WrestleMania match, which is fine. Like, I'll give it a pass for that because it's building a story. They're trying to tell a story. I'm going to be okay with that. The match in and of itself was a good match. It was a good Survivor Series match, but I did not like the way it was structured. To have John Cena be gone so quickly just seemed very odd. Very odd to me to have the final two people on Team SmackDown Live be Shane McMahon and Randy Orton. What kind of draw is there to that? What kind of chance do they really have when you still have Braun Strowman on the other side? We want to see Braun Strowman versus Randy Orton, Braun Strowman versus John Cena. We got glimpses of that tonight. But they didn't really make too much out of these encounters. They just kind of got them in there, got them over with, and then got people out. They had more than enough time to stretch this out a little longer if they would have taken away some of that end segment. We'll get to more of that as we continue on with this review. But those are really my issues. The rest of the show, in its entirety, was not a bad show. Not better than last night. NXT definitely put on a better show. They didn't blow them out of the water like they usually do. Survivor Series was a decent show. I have the same complaint with the women's match as I do with the men's match. I did not care for the way they structured the eliminations in this match. However, I did call the ending. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more for Asuka to look like she had to overcome, but they made her look a little bit weaker than she should have in that match. That's my complaint with that match. Again, we'll get a little bit more into that. This show started off on the pre-show. We got 2 bonus matches added. We got to see Elias versus Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy finally shows back up on the radar. He's been missing in action for so long. I thought he would have been inserted into that main event at some point, but that was not the case. He did, however, put on a great match. A very good match for Elias. It was a good career-building match. A nice, solid victory with a drift away to Matt Hardy after a nice contest between the two to start off the night. It was not your traditional, just boring pre-show garbage. It was actually a good match and a good showing for Elias Sampson. Something that is not will be worth your time going back to see. It was just very interesting to see the dynamic between the two. They had good chemistry, and I enjoyed it. What I didn't enjoy was the next match to come, which everybody already knew. It was Enzo Amore and Kalisto for the Cruiserweight title. Enzo Amore walks away with the win. We all could have told you that if you were a betting man, that was a sure bet. They weren't going to go back to giving the title back to Kalisto. And with the rumors going around that Neville's on his way back to the WWE, maybe that's the storyline they're going to go with. Hopefully we see him come back sometime soon. If not, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea where they're going to go with Enzo and the Cruiserweight title, and nor do I even really care. It was a one kind of dim spot on the night. And then we got pushed forward to another bonus match, which at first, when it was being announced and I heard Kevin Owens' music hit, I was furious that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were relegated to the pre-show to go one-on-one against Fandango and Tyler Breeze, the Fashion Police, no less. However, I quickly put all that aside as it was immediately made known to us that this is part of the storyline. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens would cut a great promo before the start of this match, saying that this is all Shane McMahon's fault, and that they acknowledge the fact that they've been relegated to the pre-show and they're not happy about it. Pretty much setting up what would come later in the night. I already knew that they were somehow going to play a part in that main event that we're going to talk about. And Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens would go on and have a great tag team match against the Fashion Police. I have said 1,000,000 times on this show that if you let them go and you let them wrestle, you're going to get people more into the Fashion Police. People already want to love them. You show them in this light, you let them do their tag team thing, and you let them perform like they did tonight. Not so many jokes and stuff once the bell rang. That's what Breezango is all about. And they had a great match with these guys. It was absolutely fantastic. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, however, would come out on top, as you would expect. We really started off this show with The Shield versus The New Day, which was a surprise to me. I thought they would have kicked it off with something else and saved them for a little later on, but I was glad that they did because this match had some very good energy. They did a lot of really cool stuff, and The Shield versus The New Day was a great way to kick off this show. The crowd was into it. It had a lot of energy. We had a lot of chants going on. Let's go Raw, let's go SmackDown. One versus the other. It was great. Roman Reigns and Big E getting in the ring one-on-one. Got everybody all ooh, and the crowd was totally into it. I was into it. I got into it. They sucked me in. And they delivered, and they performed a fantastic match. And it was what we all expected it would be. In the end, the triple powerbomb would bring the Shield the victory over the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history, which you can't complain about because, like I said, we all knew that was coming. What we didn't see coming was the way this women's match was going to go down to a point. I would have never expected it to start off the way it did. We had Becky Lynch, Natalya taking the spot of Charlotte. We did not have Paige on the show tonight. We had Carmella, we had Tamina and Naomi going up against Team Raw, which would be Bayley, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, who the hell else? Alicia Fox, that's why I can't remember, and who else? And Asuka. I apologize for that. I just had a little brain fart. It happens, you guys know, you just get them yourselves. Don't lie. I know that you do. So this match kicks off. And very, very quickly, we would find the captain of Team SmackDown eliminated. Becky Lynch would be caught off guard by a blind tag from Bayley, which would leave her the opening to get a flash pinfall roll-up on the unsuspecting captain of SmackDown Live, and Becky Lynch was out of this thing in like 2 minutes. And much like in the men's match, now my interest has already feigned. I wanted to see Becky Lynch in there versus Asuka. I wanted to see Becky Lynch in there versus Sasha again. I wanted to see her get in there and do her thing. Essentially, she got in there and did nothing but get eliminated. And it seemed a little weird. Only to have the person that eliminated her, Bayley, get eliminated by Tamina with a Superfly Splash. The most interesting part of this match really came when Tamina and Nia Jax took center stage and finally stood face to face in the ring. This was a little clumsy. This was a little bit spotty. It wasn't as clean as I hoped, but it was a little bit impressive given who was in the ring and what they had to work with. I didn't mind it. I was intrigued by it. I thought it could have been pulled off a little bit better. And Nia Jax would end up being counted out. Very close to my prediction where I thought Tamina and Nia Jax were going to battle it out together into the arenas, into the fans, and get double eliminated so that Tamina would not have to suffer the pin. But that would not be the case. Nia Jax was counted out on her own. And then we would have Alicia Fox eliminated by Naomi, which seemed kind of out of nowhere, but I was glad she was gone. She took most of the abuse at the beginning of this match, and she wasn't selling very well, if you ask me. She was a little clumsy herself. We would then get Naomi eliminated by the bank statement as Sasha Banks locked her up and gets her to tap out. Carmella would get eliminated with one hell of a kick by Asuka, but I'm going to say this about that. Carmella got in way too much offense on the Empress of Tomorrow. I know she won the Money in the Bank, but you can't tell me that Carmella is much more of a challenge than an Emma or any of the other girls on the other side. And the fact that she was taking bumps for Carmella was a little bit annoying to me. But at least in the end, she got her face kicked off by Asuka and would end up being eliminated by Asuka. We'd have Sasha Banks tapping out to the sharpshooter as Natalya locked her up. And that would leave Asuka against the odds, 2-on-1, Natty and Tamina for SmackDown Live. Asuka stood alone for Monday Night Raw, and she would end up taking out these two girls with ease. I think that Asuka versus Natty would be a great singles match. These girls did have some pretty good chemistry. I didn't mind so much Natty getting a little bit of offense in there because A, it's Natty, and she's a 10-year veteran, and she should get some offense in there. She's not a jobber. She's not the biggest superstar in the world. She's not the greatest, but she is good enough to stand toe-to-toe with Asuka, at least way more than any of the other girls. And they had some very good chemistry, and I would not be opposed to seeing Natalya and Asuka going on against each other again. But Asuka, in the end, would come out on top as the sole survivor, much like I predicted on the prediction show. And I was happy about it. The match could have been a little bit better, but it wasn't a 5-star stinker, and it wasn't a 5-star great match. It was just somewhere in the middle. I can tell you that it's probably one of the better matches that the women have put on in recent memory, even though it was all of them involved in the one match, which is something that they've become used to, which is probably why it came off so well. There's so much with the 4s and the 5-ways, so these girls were used to being with each other. A lot of good stuff in this match, and I didn't hate it. I also did not hate The Miz versus Baron Corbin. I told you guys in the review, a lot of people were not looking forward to this match. A lot of people said this match was going to suck, and I did not think so. I did not think this match sucked. It definitely wasn't the best match on the card, but it made a lot of sense. The Miz was great. He sold very well, and Baron Corbin still trying to get in the Miz's head, you know, blowing kisses to Maurice, who was at ringside, and I knew she was going to play some minor part in this thing, if only to distract Baron Corbin momentarily. The Miz Taraj definitely earned their money tonight. Bo Dallas was on the receiving end of an end of days, as he kept getting involved in the match, trying to gain the advantage for their guy, the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. But even though The Miz would strategize a great plan and try to take out the leg of the bigger, stronger, dominant lone wolf who was in control for most of this match, throwing The Miz around like he was a little girl, and he would execute this plan to perfection, delivering all kinds of damage to Baron Corbin's knee. But Baron Corbin was just too big and too strong, and even on one leg, delivered a deep 6 that I thought was going to be the end of this match, but The Miz would end up kicking out. This match would go on until The Miz would get caught in an absolutely beautifully executed end of days, and the United States champion would go on and get the win. He would be immediately interviewed afterwards by Renee Young, which I hate that they do that. I hate when they interview the guys right after the match. Like, let them have 2 minutes to breathe. They're breathing heavy and panting. They don't even sound good on the mic. Like, let them go in the back, set up the segment, let them relax, have a sip of water, something. You know, why get right in these guys' face as they're just, coming down off of this moment of having their match? I think that's a little bit unfair. Nonetheless, he did deliver something decent on the mic. He said, I shut everybody's mouth tonight, and I thought it was a great match. It was definitely entertaining. It was what I thought it was going to be. I definitely had a feeling Baron Corbin was going to win this match. I didn't think he was going to win clean. I thought it was going to have something more to do with some outside interference and a disqualification of some sort, but that's not the road that they decided to take. And it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. If you think so, that's your opinion. But this is my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. After this match, we got into the tag team contest. The tag team champions of SmackDown, the Usos, going against the Bar, the Raw tag team champions. And at this point, Raw's up 2-1. So who do you think is going to win this match? That was my problem, like I said, with the scorecard. I could already feel the outcome just based off of that. And the Usos, when they came out, cut an absolutely fire promo on the Bar, continuing their consistent and superb mic work throughout their run with this Usos Penitentiary thing. They are far and away the best tag team in the company, and they proved it once again tonight. This was a fantastic match. I don't know what the hell Sheamus was thinking with that mohawk. I don't understand what the divisions were for, why he had white tips. It didn't make sense. It was red and white for Raw. Like, your hair's red. I think that's enough of a representation of Raw. You didn't need to white the tips because, red and white is the colors of Raw. It's the colors of the show. I don't know. Unnecessary. He looked stupider than ever. But putting that under the rug, this was a great match. This was a fantastic tag team contest, which is what I was expecting when it was going to be the Usos versus Rollins and Ambrose. I have nothing bad to say about this match. It was very, very good, very high impact, lots of big spots. We had the Celtic Cross hit by Sheamus. It looked as if the Bar was throwing everything that they possibly could at the Usos, but they just could not get the job done. The Usos would go to deliver a double super kick to Sheamus at the end of this match, but Cesaro would push Sheamus out of the way and take the bullet for the guys, end up on the outside. Hopefully his teeth weren't pushed back into his mouth again, and then that would set up Sheamus being left alone in the ring to eat not one, but 2 super kicks, one from Jimmy, one from Jay, and then would be on the receiving end of a simultaneous double super kick, which smashed his head together like a coconut. I'm surprised it didn't splat open like that scene with the guy from Scanners. You ever see Scanners where the guy's head, he's all like this and it just pops and explodes? That's what I thought was going to happen to Sheamus when the Usos made contact with that double super kick. And that would be followed up with Jey Uso going up to the top rope to deliver that splash after he was tagged by his brother, who tagged him mid-air. All of a sudden, I think it was Jimmy, or Jay, I don't know, I get them confused because, they're twins, so forgive me. But one of them, they go taking off from one side of the ring to the other. He dives, mid-dive, he tags his brother, ends up going over the top rope to take out Cesaro to make sure he's a non-factor in the 3 count as his brother goes up to deliver the splash and gets the win with the 3 count on Sheamus. It was a fantastic match. The crowd was into it. It was definitely one of the best, if not the best match that Sheamus and Cesaro has had. And I credit that all to the fantastic work of the Usos. They are so good that they're easy to work with. They make the guys that they work with look fantastic, and when they come out on top in the end, it only proves what they say is true, and I believe it full-heartedly. The Usos are the very best tag team in the WWE right now. Forget everybody else. That's the way it's going to be. Until somebody comes up and proves them wrong, the Usos are the greatest tag team right now. You can't watch this match and tell me otherwise. So now we're 2-2. as far as the scoreboard's concerned. We had an interview with Jason Jordan. I didn't really listen to what he had to say because I didn't care, but what I did hear was the raining of boos down upon this poor kid. This Kurt Angle thing has done nothing but make everybody hate him. This was a guy that was beloved in a tag team, and now they have all turned against him. All because of this nonsensical thing that you want us to believe. This stupid storyline that's not getting over, didn't work from day one. And unfortunately, this kid's feeling the heat for it. Charlotte versus Alexa. This match was a lot of fun. This was an obvious mismatch. You had the 6'+ Charlotte Flair going up against 5 Feet of Fury Alexa Bliss. The crowd, once again, very split in their support in this match. Alexa's a very surprising little firecracker. She's a powder keg, like they said tonight, and they were absolutely spot on with that point. She took the fight to Charlotte very early, taking the strategy that many employ when you're facing a bigger person, and that's to try to take out the leg. Lots of attacks to the back. It was really, really impressive what we've seen from these ladies tonight. It was not what I expected as far as, I thought that the lack of interaction between the two and the lack of build was going to make it kind of boring, but the girls put on a great match. They really, really did. And my only complaint is that Charlotte won. And not because it's Charlotte, but because obviously, I'm a Bliss fit and I wanted her to win. It makes a little bit more sense for Charlotte to win. She's got the greater lineage, and they're doing this whole thing because of Ric Flair and the condition that he just went through, and it's fun and it's feel good, and I get it. But Alexa Bliss, even in her loss tonight, showed you why she is the goddess of the WWE. She was absolutely fantastic. She made Charlotte look like $1 million. She looked like a champion. She looked like she refused to quit up until she got caught in that figure 8 leg lock, and she tried as best she could to keep from tapping out, but she just would not be able to counter it, and she lost this match, unfortunately. Great spots in this match. We had Charlotte go up for her moonsault and miss. We had also Alexa Bliss go up for the Twisted Bliss near the end of this match and would get caught by the knees of Charlotte, which is what set up that figure 8 leg lock for the win. Very solid match. Better than the match last night? Sorry. Absolutely not. That Fatal 4-Way was fantastic. And that was a lot for these girls to overcome. Even the 5-on-5 SmackDown women's match was not even close to what we got from the 4 women at NXT last night. Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. This match scared the hell out of me, because for the first 5 or 6 minutes it started out exactly being what I didn't want it to be. And it looked as if this was going to be a total domination and glorified squash of AJ Styles. Thankfully, that was not the case, as AJ Styles would mount one hell of a comeback and definitely made himself look like he could fell the beast, and he nearly did on a couple of occasions tonight. Thank God that they did this. This is what I wanted them to do with this match. The only difference I would have had, if you didn't watch the preview and predictions, this is what I stated. The best thing they could have done for this match, especially after the fact, looking at what they delivered and how good that match actually ended up being, was have a preset time limit. Announce it and use it to your advantage, and let AJ Styles survive till the end of the match. Not having Brock Lesnar hit that F5, which is a theme that they used in this match. This match went almost 15 minutes, maybe a little over 15 minutes, and it took 15 minutes for the Beast to take down the Phenomenal One. That's a credit in and of itself to AJ Styles. He lasted 15 minutes in the ring against a guy that hasn't had a 15-minute match all year. So that's a testament to AJ Styles as well. He pushed Brock Lesnar further than anybody he's been put up against since he started this run. And I can't be happier with the way this match turned out. I just wish it would have went to a time limit draw. No winner, no loser. But when you have this stupid scorecard and SmackDown is up 3-2, and you know they want to make this a tie ball game before the final at bat, the writing was on the wall, and you knew Brock Lesnar was going to end up winning this match no matter how great AJ Styles did look. The story of this match was definitely the strength and dominance of Brock Lesnar, but it was also the determination and the drive of AJ Styles and the no-quit mentality of the Phenomenal One. And AJ Styles would literally hit Brock Lesnar with everything he's got, with the exception of the Styles Clash, because that man is too big for AJ Styles to hit that on anyway. He would hit the Phenomenal Forearm, he would hit the 450 Splash, he would bring everything out. Pele kicks, everything he's got. He was able to hit Brock Lesnar with it, and he staggered the Beast on many occasions, taking him down, getting close calls on a 2 count here and there. And then he would go to the well one too often. And he would remove his shoulder pad, or his elbow pad rather, to deliver a bare bones Phenomenal Forearm, and would end up getting caught in the position for Brock to deliver an F5 and get the 3 count on the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, my biggest fear is that they announced that Jinder Mahal is invoking his rematch clause this Tuesday. If they use what happened tonight to AJ Styles as a crutch to be the reason why Jinder Mahal wins this title back, all the work that they've done tonight and everything that they've done over the last few weeks to negate that and to make us all feel good about wrestling again and to make us enjoy Survivor Series the way we've had so much tonight is going to go right out the window, and we're going to go right back to the garbage heap, and that's not where we want to see this go. So let's all hope and pray together for the next 2 days that that's not the direction that they're going, that they're giving him the rematch just to get it over with, and that they continue on this path of AJ Styles being the champion and start giving him some more viable contenders. What happened tonight put aside, nobody in the world can beat Brock Lesnar. I mean, come on. It's Brock Lesnar. But the performance AJ Styles put up against the Beast tonight can't be argued against. He is definitely the best wrestler in the world today. He made that match phenomenal. And if I would go back and watch it again, I would recommend it to a friend. He was tossed around that ring like a dead body for the whole first 5-6 minutes of this match. I thought AJ Styles was done. And where he got this energy, where he got this second win to come back and get in offense and really put Brock Lesnar to the test, the biggest story coming out of this thing is AJ Styles would lock Brock Lesnar in a vicious calf crusher, really pulling back with some torque on it. And it seemed, at least to me, that even in victory, AJ Styles may have the last laugh, because it definitely looked like Brock Lesnar was legit limping his way out of the arena tonight. Brock Lesnar, I don't think was selling what happened tonight. I think he was legit hurt. We've seen a lot of bleeped out words. I could clearly see him dropping F-bombs while he was just walking back. I think something is wrong with Brock's leg, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. We were right about Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre definitely injured himself mid-match last night. I think that may be the case with the Beast tonight. We are going to have to wait and see what story actually develops after that. But my biggest fear is having this lead to Jinder Mahal being the champion again, because AJ Styles was put through the ringer tonight by Brock Lesnar, and that's something that would be hard for anybody to overcome in just a couple of days. The way he was tossed around, man, I'm very afraid for SmackDown Live. But let's not get too tossed up into that, because we're going to end this review talking about that 5-on-5 main event. And it started off absolutely fantastic. I was genuinely giddy. I was smiling and laughing and clapping and genuinely excited multiple times within the first 5 to 6 minutes of this match. When the crowd acknowledged the fact that they wanted Shinsuke Nakamura to fight Finn Balor and would have that answered by Randy Orton, was one of the best moments of the night. The crowd just went nuts when Shinsuke and Finn Balor were in there, and they delivered. They delivered great. In the short amount of time they gave them, they were compelling, they were fantastic. We got some great strong style wrestling, some of that Japanese style that they like to fight, and it was great. Made even better by Triple H wanting the tag, asking for the tag to get in there by Nakamura. So now 2 out of the 3 dream matchups that I wanted to see on this night are already taking place. And again, Triple H did not really look like he had much ring rust on him until the end of the match, and we will talk about that, which I know doesn't make sense, that he would get to the end of the match before he would look a little spotty, but you've seen it, you know what I'm going to say. We'll get to that in a minute. But Shinsuke and Triple H was great. Bobby Roode and Triple H was great to see. There's a lot of drama there. It makes me really wish that Triple H was part of the main roster on a full-time basis again, because these matchups and these encounters that he had in these brief moments tonight were the most compelling and best moments of this match, at least for me. Which makes when Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode, within the course of 2 minutes, get eliminated by Braun Strowman. Now, yeah, I know it's Braun Strowman, and that's what's going to happen, but I just thought it happened too soon. I think those were the 2 guys that you should have made it come down to in the end, or at least let them be the last 2 wrestlers with Shane, before you make Shane be the standalone member of Team SmackDown Live. Samoa Joe would get hit with 2 AAs and a coup de grace by Finn Balor, and then John Cena would pick up the pin and eliminate Samoa Joe, so now he was out. So I'm quickly losing interest in this match. Then, much to probably everybody's surprise, John Cena gets eliminated. Oh, I'm sorry, that was John Cena got eliminated also by 2 angle slams and a coup de grace. And then Finn Balor would get RKO'd. And then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would come out and start beating up Shane McMahon. Because of course that's what they would do. I thought this was going to cause Shane McMahon to be removed from the match, which would have left Randy Orton standing alone against Braun Strowman, Kurt Angle, and Triple H. But in my brain, I'm like, this doesn't make much sense. And then they did the opposite of that. Shane McMahon would be distracted by Owens and Zayn and run them out of the building with a steel chair, all the while Randy Orton's left alone, and he gets eliminated by Braun Strowman with that running power slam, leaving Shane all alone. And then the real weird story begins. Triple H wants in there. He wants to be the one to do it. Kurt Angle tags himself in. He wants the one to do it. He's like, I'm the GM. He's the GM. We're going up against each other. This is my fight. Kurt Angle would lock Shane McMahon in the ankle lock and would not let go. Shane tried as he could to get to the ropes and to get out of it, but Kurt Angle would not let it happen. And this would lead to the most intriguing moment of the night. Even though it would all be for nothing in the end, Triple H seemingly turns on Team Raw. He attacks Kurt Angle for some unknown reason, pedigrees him in the worst pedigree I have ever seen Triple H deliver. It was absolutely horrible. It looked like they just fell on top of each other. I don't know who to blame, if it was Kurt's mistiming, or Triple H was off by a step, or they tripped on whoever else was in the ring with them at the time, Shane McMahon. It was bad. It was a bad pedigree. But still, this pedigree would take out Kurt Angle. It would leave him laying in the ring. Kurt would be covered by Shane McMahon as Triple H dragged his lifeless body on top of Kurt Angle to eliminate him from the match. Braun Strowman standing there looking like I'm looking. Standing there like, what the hell, man? What the hell is going on? Making it seem like he was standing up for Shane or that he was going to not allow Strowman to hurt Shane. Like, it was very misleading. Only for him to be the cerebral assassin that he is, turn and pedigree Shane in another very sloppy pedigree, only to get the pinfall and the win for himself. How does that really make sense? All that does is build Angle versus Triple H. It once again makes this whole storyline centered around the involvement of the McMahons and not about the true Raw versus SmackDown feel. And although I was pleased for the most part, I did not like how this main event ended. With the exception of Braun Strowman getting as pissed off as I was and making Triple H pay for what went down by delivering not one, but 2 running power slams to the COO of the WWE, and that was good for me. I was like, great. As much as I love Triple H right now, this is not the way I wanted this Survivor Series to go down. Everybody knew Raw was going to win. Look at the team they had. Their team was stacked with megastars. But the way they placed the order of the eliminations, and then it was 4-on-2 on Raw's side. You got Braun Strowman's like 4 men on his own. The odds were just completely in Raw's favor the whole time. There was no way they were going to lose. And then you factor in this whole Triple H swerve, kind of swerve. It left me feeling like, where last night I was just completely over the moon. It was just night and day. The way this show ended to the way last night's show ended, there's no comparison. So NXT still wins out the weekend, but they did not outshine the main roster's version of Survivor Series by that much. It was a very decent show, probably the best pay-per-view the WWE has put on all year. The match quality was good for the most part. If you had to give it an average score, I'd give Survivor Series a solid B. And without a doubt, NXT TakeOver was an A+. If you missed that review, it is live up on the channel. We put it up earlier this afternoon, so make sure you check that out. Check out everything. If you missed the preview and predictions, go check that show out. See if I was right, because for the most part, I believe I was. And my favorite show that I did all week, the 5 worst moments in Survivor Series history, which are not anything on this card. 2017 cannot be considered the worst by any means, but there are 5 terrible moments that I wanted to talk about, and it is up here live on the channel for you guys. For your viewing pleasure at your leisure, please go check it out, and don't forget to like these videos, smash those thumbs up for me, make sure you punch that thumbs up right in the mouth, make sure you let me know you like this show. If you like Survivor Series tonight, smash that thumbs up, share this video with your friends, make sure they smash that thumbs up, and as always, if you're new around these parts, and you are not part of the Sledgehammer Club, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so that you will always be up to date and you will be notified the very second a video just like this one drops talking some pro wrestling. That's going to do it for the review tonight. Like I said, check out everything else on the channel. Thank you guys for being here with us again tonight. Not a bad weekend of wrestling, but now we got 2 follow-up shows to go through, and it'll be interesting to see what direction everything is headed. My name is Nick Nightmare. With me, as always, is Blue, the snowball microphone, the world heavyweight champion of all the microphones in all the world, and this has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV. That's gonna do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you tomorrow night for the Monday Night Raw review right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.